Have you ever had this happen to you where you wake up and get going with your day and you're feeling just all bright and cheery, happy, and then something happens? Either someone has a comment for you, a nasty comment, or you mess up on something that's really important to you, or perhaps something just doesn't go the way that you expected that it would, and you're really disappointed. Then all of a sudden, your bright and cheery day has taken a dive and has suddenly put you in the place of darkness and gloom. And then you are stuck in all of these negative thoughts, this negative viewpoint, and you can't get out of it. Is that something that has happened to you? If that sounds like you, well, today I want to provide you with some basic cognitive behavioral tips that are going to help you to change these negative thoughts that are keeping you in depression so that you can feel more happiness. Now, you don't need to take notes on this because I'm providing a full PDF guide that goes along with this with even more uh, negative thinking tips that I'm going to explain here, but also this guide is going to walk you through on daily steps that you need to take to notice what is going on and to bring change. So look for that link below. If you are new here, I hope that you will say hi and tell me just a little bit about yourself. Me, I am Tanya Cordenbrock. I am the person behind a renewedlife.com, and for years I was a therapist, a professional therapist, but now I help you online to learn how to break free from anxiety and depression, anger and shame, to be able to love yourself, feel loved by others, and to have a deeper relationship with God. And I mainly do this through these teachings, but also in my Mastering Emotions program, which I am having a special on right now. If you want to check that out and get into the membership at a really good monthly rate. And before we look at these negative thinking patterns that are causing depression within you, let's first discuss what negative patterns are, negative thinking patterns. These are ways of responding to the upsets in your life or the disappointments that you come upon. And they kick in automatically. There, you could describe them as habits, habitual ways in which you respond to these events in your life. And they normally come by, just happen so quickly that you don't even notice, like, oh, I'm doing this. And it feels like they're the truth of the actual situation, but they're not. Now today I'm going to describe a few of those, and so you can get an idea of what they are like. And then when you get the guide, you will understand more of what it is that you're looking for and how to change that. In my Mastering Emotions program, we go into this a lot deeper in looking at the causes behind these negative thinking patterns, how they developed, and what it is that kind of holds them in place. But today we're just going to talk about more on the surface level of what it is you can look for in some simple things that you can do to bring some changes. The first negative thinking pattern we're going to look at is overgeneralizing. And this is where one event occurs and then you project that onto the whole of your life. And it's very much like a projector. If you kind of know what those are like, how they work, you have that the and with the projector, the picture is coming out of, or the light is coming out of that small opening, and then it comes out onto the screen very large, even though the real light that's coming out is very small. So, how does this work in our lives with negative thinking patterns? One event can occur, such as that a friend says something negative to you, something that hurts your feelings, and you get this feeling that you know that they are unhappy with you, and so then you can project this onto all of your friends, that everyone who knows you is you thinks the same way that this one friend does, that everyone is seeing you. If your friend said that you are selfish, which doesn't mean you are selfish, just means that your friend sees you as being selfish. That's their interpretation. But you take that as meaning you are selfish, and that everyone sees you as being selfish. The second negative thinking pattern we're going to look at is disqualifying the positive. Now, I talked about this a little bit in my last teaching I did on gratitude and thankfulness and why it's difficult for you to be thankful. So be sure to check that out. And, you know, looking at the positives in your life, especially the positives about yourself, can be really difficult to do. I've found this over and over, so much so that we have an individual video about this in my Mastering Emotions program. Because what tends to happen is when we think about what is good about us, what is healthy about us, what we're really skilled at doing, we don't feel comfortable with accepting that. And there are various reasons that actually can go quite deep that we go into in my Mastering Emotions program. But, we do this almost every day sometimes on a more superficial level, even with people giving us compliments. For instance, someone might say, "Oh, your hair looks really cute today." Whereas instead of just receiving that of, "Oh, yeah, my hair does look kind of nice today," but instead to say, "Oh, yeah, but this is the COVID quarantine haircut or style that I'm going with just because I can't get my hair cut right now." Or someone might say, "Oh man, that top looks really nice and that looks good on you." And you can look at it, and instead of receiving that compliment, you disqualify the positive by saying something negative like, "Oh yeah, but it's just not quite the color that I usually wear," or "It's a little bit too baggy," or "It's a little bit too tight because of the weight that I've gained." Coming up with some kind of excuse as to why that compliment or that positive uh, comment was not valid. And, as I said, this can happen. We do this all the time. I did it just yesterday. I received an award for an accomplishment that I had achieved, and I was happy to see it. But then when I told others about it, I disqualified it. I put on, "Oh, look, hey, I got this award, but, I really should have gotten to this milestone long, long time ago. And I should have been so much further along by now." And just totally just dampened the joy of that award that I had received. Is this something that you do? Have you noticed yourself doing this when someone compliments you, or when you think of some positive trait about yourself, or you receive some recognition for something good that you've done? The last category of negative thinking patterns we're going to look at is jumping to conclusions. Now, I originally was going to tell you three of these, but this one has two subcategories, so you might consider that you're getting a bonus here. So, jumping to conclusions. One way that we jump to conclusions is by what is called mind reading. Mind reading is where you assume that you know what the other person is thinking. You know what is the cause behind what it is that they are saying. You know, you think that you know the intention for why it is that they said what they said to you, or why it is that they have either the expression on their face right now. You think you know because you're using this method. This pattern is kicking in of mind reading. And what you're not doing with mind reading is you're not checking it out with the other person about what it is that's really going on with them, what is really within their own thinking, what is really within their own hearts, their own heart. And then the second part of jumping to conclusions is predicting the future. So that based on something that is going on now, for instance, you're unable to find a job that you really can be satisfied with, that can pay you how you want to be paid, or that you will really enjoy the environment. Based on your current inability to find a job today, then you predict that you will never be able to find a job that you can be satisfied with. Negative thinking patterns are those automatic ways in which we respond to events that are upsetting, unsettling, disappointing, hurtful. And these matter because how we think will also influence our mood, and it will influence how we respond to these events. Now, there are a number of these negative thinking patterns, and you can see all of those in the chart that I provide for you, and when you sign up to get that. And today, though, we're talking about three of those, and that is overgeneralizing. The second one is disqualifying the positive, and then the third one is predicting the future. Overgeneralizing means when someone says something to you or something happens to you, that you project that one thing and onto the entirety of your life. So that if one person thinks something about you, for instance, then you project that onto everyone else, that everyone also sees you in that same way. Disqualifying the positive is whenever you think of something positive about yourself, that you consider that that doesn't matter because you see all of this other negative elements of yourself. Or someone compliments you and you disqualify that by pointing out how you see it as not really being true. And then the third one is predicting the future. And there are two parts to that. One is mind reading, where you assume you know the intent of the other person the other person's heart as to why they are saying what they are saying to you, why they're responding to you in the way that they are, or you assume that you know what it is that they are thinking. But the problem here is that you don't check it out with them. You don't ask, hey, what's going on with you that you're having that expression on your face right now, or that you seem to be avoiding me right now, or why are you saying that to me right now? And then the second part of predicting the future is I'm sorry, the second part of jumping to conclusions is predicting the future. So predicting the future is assuming that you know exactly what is going to happen. And if you are struggling with something right now, then you predict the future and assuming, okay, it's always going to be like this. I am always going to have this problem. I know it is not going to turn out well. Now, again, what these thinking patterns do, because they kick in automatically, they're going to cause you to stay in depression, and they're going to keep you from moving forward in your life, keep you from feeling happy. What can you do about this? Well, the first thing that you want to do is to become aware of them, because they do kick in automatically. You have to pause at some point in your day. Normally not in the moment if you're not used to doing this, but take some time on a daily basis to look at, how did I respond during my day? Look at the moments when you were upset, when you were disappointed, when you were hurt, and what happened. What kind of pattern, negative thinking pattern kicked in, and what was the result? What happened from this? So the more that you do this, then the more you become aware of it, that it is a pattern, and it's not really the truth of what is happening in that moment or what is going to happen in the future. Because when we see it, what the negative thinking patterns do is they tend to just put this gray haze, or even a black haze, not a haze, but a blanket over all of your life and how you view it. And then when that is there, then there's hopelessness, right? And you feel like nothing is ever going to improve. Nothing is ever going to contain any level of happiness. But this is not the case. When you can change the way in which you're thinking, you can shift these negative thinking patterns, then this will allow room within you to be able to notice the positives that are present in your life. And now you may still struggle with this, because there may be a part of you that's really going to fight against this. And this part of you is a wounded part that really needs to be addressed and needs to receive healing. It's not something that we can do here in a simple video, but it is something that we work on extensively in my Mastering Emotions program. So I hope that you will check that out, especially since I am running it with a very special price right now that you do not want to miss. Okay, and before we go today, don't forget to grab that chart, for that PDF chart for yourself, that's going to guide you through this process of noticing these negative thinking patterns and changing them. And then also be sure to let me know your thoughts on this training and if you would like some more like it. Have a great day.